5.
So 5 so far, and of which, of the 5, 3 are from Minnesota. If this goes the way it does, Tom, say he wins. Is it really that bad of a thing? Is it really going to get that nasty? Is it really an overreaction? Oh, my God, everyone's going to move to Florida. People are going to leave. It's going to be this. Is it really that bad of a thing in New York, or is it just an overreaction?
I don't think it's an overreaction. We just saw one of the largest, most influential realtors in New York saying, I'm getting phone calls now to stop a deal. And a deal in New York City is $1 million, $2 million deal on the low end for, condos and nice apartments and things like that. And now you're talking about this. I look at it this way. There is a great contradiction that happened in New York City.
On PBD Podcast, explosive controversy erupts as Chicago's teachers union head gleefully declares, "We own your kids," while Joe Biden's Autopen scandal threatens to unravel the White House's credibility. From New York politics to international nuclear tensions, the revelations are jaw-dropping and unsparing. Brace yourself as we reveal the truth behind power, control, and political hypocrisy. Let's break this down.
They had a large rally, one of the larger rallies. No authoritarianism, no kings. But if you listen to this guy and you listen to everything, you take the guns away from the citizens. And by the way, there was a shooting at a church, one person tragically killed, but then a highly trained, licensed citizen security guard takes out the threat. Not a multi-person shooting, one person, God rest their soul, and the shooter neutralized. But now you're going to take guns away from the citizens, you're going to defund the police, and you're going to do all the rest of these things, make it free. And when that devolves, that will devolve very, very quickly. And when it devolves, guess what? The people can't rise up because the people are not armed just to protect their homes. And you know what you get? You get an authoritarian Muslim that's the mayor of your city. This is not an overreaction. There are very real things that are happening right now. It's a populist thing. If he tries to get the $30 minimum wage through, Eric Adams was on a morning show on Fox talking about things. Hey, he needs the assemblyman to help him. And he is an assemblyman. And so why couldn't he get all this done now? So as mayor of New York, this is not an overreaction. This is the tip of an iceberg. This could head toward Dearborn very, very, very quickly. And I just ask New Yorkers, those of you that voted for him, look down the list of things and ask yourself very honestly, where do you think the outcome is at? What do you think the end is at? Does the mayor become a Muslim authoritarian figure? I think so. But you just marched in the streets over the past weekend and said no authoritarianism. Which is it?
By the way, you know what's interesting about this, Tom? I posted something on Twitter and I said, New York may have gotten more conservative in the 2024 election, but the Democratic Party moved further left.
I think you're 100% correct.
They moved further left. So as left as they were, they didn't decide to come to the center. Let's go a little bit more to the center. They're like, no, let's go a little bit more to the left. Let's go turn this thing into Detroit. Let's go turn this thing into Dearborn. And you know what's the crazy thing about businessmen that live in your community? Who are the first people that are hated? Those who make money, those who are successful. In every space, those are the people that always get hated the most. In the family, who is the most hated person? Probably the guy with the most money or the gal with the most money. It's always the same thing. People can't stand success because they're envious of it until eventually, what happens? Those people say, you know what? You don't appreciate us? No problem. We'll leave to a different place. Ken Griffin, I was at an event in St. Regis with a bunch of wealthy people that are billionaires, and the entire 8-hour meeting, 40% of the meeting, everyone brought up Ken Griffin. Ken Griffin left Chicago. Ken Griffin left Chicago. Ken Griffin left Chicago. Ken Griffin. We're going to miss Ken Griffin, but you know what? We're going to recover from Ken Griffin. It's like the entire meeting was about Ken Griffin. Okay, so now all these people that you guys hate in New York that are the business owners, the builders, the billionaires, you don't think they have 100 other places to go to? It's as if every person that voted for Mandani in New York needs to go out there and buy the book Atlas Shrugged and just read it. Go read the book and read the history of what happens when you push these types of guys out. There's plenty of places for them to go to. But again, we'll see what happened by November between now and then. Maybe Eric Adams is going to come out. And since they're both kind of Democratic Party, but he went to the independent side, who knows if an independent can win in New York? We'll find out. Let's go to the next story. Iran, Israel, did the nuclear facilities really get hit? Did they not get hit? You hear stories about the fact that those places didn't get hit. There's CNN anchor saying certain things. There's Joy Reid saying certain things here. Joy Reid, I'll start off with that one first. Rob, can you tell me what page Joy Reid is? Joy Reid is... You have to hear this one, folks.
Page 16?
Page 16. Okay. Joy Reid, let's start the clip from here, by the way. Joy Reid suggests Iran having nuclear weapon might make Middle East calmer. Can you imagine that? Iran having nuclear weapon might make the Middle East calmer. By the way, there are people that agree with her. Go ahead, Rob. Play the clip.
What do you think we'll see first, World War III or nuclear war? I don't think we'll ever see nuclear war in our lifetime, but I do think we'll see a World War III.
And the reason you won't see nuclear war in our lifetime is that everyone who would deem to threaten global annihilation has nukes.
Mutually assured
Mutually assured destruction. And I think what would, in a weird way, make the Middle East... You know how they say the most polite society in the country is Texas? Because everybody's packing?
Everybody got guns. That's right.
You know, maybe the Middle East would be calmer if there weren't just... I mean, what I spoke yesterday to a Navy veteran who used to fly those bombers that they used to drop the bunker, but the 30,000-pound bombs. And he was telling me, he said, don't get it twisted. This war is not about a real threat that Iran posed to anyone. They don't have nukes, and they didn't have nukes, and they weren't making nukes. This is about a geopolitical push, the same way it was when we went after Mossadegh. To make it, we would rather an Iran with a dictator who's a puppet than a free Iran who could defy us and take the oil we feel entitled to. In this case, Israel wants to be the hegemon of the region. They want to be the United States, the big boy in the bloc, and have no competitors. And their biggest two potential competitors are Saudi Arabia and Iran. And so the idea here is to make them the unquestioned superpower.
Right. So she thinks it'll be safer if Iran has a nuclear weapon. Now, this whole story that you're hearing about was prompted after reporters came out from CNN, I believe New York Times, that said U.S. strikes did not destroy Iran's nuclear program. White House rages after top secret doc is leaked as Israel and Iran claim victory. Rob, if you have this clip, go for it. Play this clip here.
And the American public have ever seen. And that CNN story does not change the facts. There was a total and complete obliteration of Iran's nuclear facilities. And because of the president's strike, because of the precision of our United States military and this perfectly executed mission, Iran no longer has the capability to produce a nuclear weapon as imminently as they did prior to the strike. The American people and the world should be grateful for that. And it's disgusting that CNN and the New York Times are disparaging not just the president, but our brave men and women who helped conduct this highly successful operation.
What kind of consequence could the leaker face?
Walks up. Okay. Pete Hexit then responds this morning. He does a press conference to address it and break down the fact that these facilities were hit. And here's what he had to say. Go for it, Rob.
Fake news, CNN, MSNBC, or the New York Times, there's been fawning coverage of a preliminary assessment. I've had a chance to read it. Every outlet has breathlessly reported on a preliminary assessment from DIA. I'm looking at it right now. Again, it was preliminary, a day and a half after the actual strike, when it admits itself in writing that it requires weeks to accumulate the necessary data to make such an assessment. It's preliminary. It points out that it's not been coordinated with the intelligence community at all. There's low confidence in this particular report. It says in the report there are gaps in the information. It says in the report multiple linchpin assumptions are what this assessment, a linchpin assumption, you know what that is? That means your entire premise is predicated on a linchpin. If you're wrong, everything else is wrong. And yet, still, this report acknowledges it's likely severe damage. Again, this is preliminary, but leaked because someone had an agenda to try to muddy the waters and make it look like this historic strike wasn't successful. I'm going to get to the chairman in a moment because he's going to lay out the particulars for you based on his professional military experience. But here's what other folks are saying. The DIA that put that report out says this is a preliminary low-confidence report and will continue to be refined as additional intelligence becomes available. How about the Israeli Atomic Energy Commission? The devastating U.S. strikes on Fordow destroyed the site's critical infrastructure and rendered the enrichment facility inoperable. Have any of these quotes made their way into the New York Times or the Washington Post?
Nope.
MSNBC, CNN, any of these quotes? How about this one? This is a new one from the UN, the United Nations. No friend of the United States, or certainly Israel often. Here's the head of the UN Atomic Energy Agency this morning, Rafael Grossi. U.S. and Israeli strikes caused enormous damage to Iran's nuclear sites. Don't take my word for it. How about the IDF's chief of staff? I can say here that the assessment is that we significantly damaged the nuclear program, setting it back by years. I repeat, years. The Iranian foreign minister, the spokesman, our nuclear installations have been badly damaged, that's for sure. I'm sure that's an understatement. John Radcliffe, the director of the CIA, putting out a statement just last night. CIA can confirm that a body of credible intelligence indicates Iran's nuclear program has been severely damaged by recent targeted strikes. This includes new intelligence from a historically reliable, very different than preliminary assessment.
You can pause it right there. Okay, Tom, he's given his argument to say that we did destroy the facilities. It's going to take him years to recover. Iran, I'm going to show an article from this morning. This is what President Trump had to say. Fake news CNN, together with the failing New York Times, have teamed up in an attempt to demean one of the most successful military strikes in history. The nuclear sites in Iran are completely destroyed. Both the Times and the CNN are getting slammed by the public. What do you think really happened? Do we really know whether massive damage was done or not?
I think well, first of all, Hexit wasn't giving his opinion. He was reading the opinion of multiple global leaders whose business is to be in the know and to make these statements and these observations, number one.
Yep.
And number two, you've got certainty coming from, okay, the IDF. Okay, you could say the IDF is biased. Sure, it's be their business to spin it one way. But when Iran's foreign minister and others are talking about this, it seems to indicate that there was damage done, but everybody also agrees that it's going to take weeks of damage assessment to see. We have satellite photos. We're going to watch trucks. We're going to see what's going on there to see what is happening on the ground and the true ground response. All it takes is the satellite images, and you watch. Do supplies come and go? Do the workers come in and go out the way they were? How many of them? There's going to be all sorts of assessments. So it is correct that it is early to make the assessment, and it's also correct that Hexit didn't go up there and just do some fawning denial. He called out the media for grabbing one little part of it, running with it because they want to make the president look bad, and then he starts quoting people around the world. That made me feel pretty reasonable about this. So if we got half the job done, or we got a quarter of the job done, you know what still is true?
What's that?
We flew planes into their airspace. They couldn't do shit about it, and we flew home unharmed.
Was that the outcome, though? Was a mission accomplished? That's the question. That's what a lot of people are asking about, because this is what Khamenei had to say this morning.
I don't think we know.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people on the world stage that are saying that
I totally get it.
There's more chance that it did.
I got you, Tom. This is what Khamenei is saying this morning. Iranian Supreme Leader crawls out of bunker to ludicrously claim victory over Israel. Tehran's delivered a hand slap to America's face. Go a little bit lower if you could, Rob. Okay, Iran's humiliated Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei came out of hiding Thursday to ludicrously claim victory over Israel, having delivered a hand slap to America's face during the first address since the total obliteration of his nuclear weapon facilities. Khamenei said he was victorious in the 12-day war, despite losing years of progress on his nuclear programs, including more than a dozen of his leading scientists being killed and obliteration of 3 nuclear enrichment sites. The Islamic Republic was victorious and, in retaliation, delivered a hand slap to America's face. Khamenei said Thursday, go a little bit lower, Rob. And, the head of the Islamic regime has been hiding since Israel launched Operation Rising Lion on June 13, fearing an assassination attempt by the Jewish state. Israel had launched hundreds of missiles around Tehran, along with covert operation that destroyed ground-to-air and ground-to-ground defense system. And Khamenei addresses comes 5 days after Trump ordered the 7 B-2 bombers to drop bunker busters bombs on the underground Fordo nuclear sites as nuclear-capable submarines launch cruise missiles at 2 other sites, Natanz and Esfahan. U.S. hit nuclear sites but could not achieve much. Khamenei said in televised speech before calling out Trump. U.S. President Trump needed to do showmanship. Okay, so now he's poking. Go a little bit lower. Needed to do a little bit of showmanship. Go a little bit lower. With all that commotion and all those claims, the Zionist regime was practically knocked out and crushed under the blows of the Islamic Republic. The isolated Iran leader statements are the first since ceasefire was agreed upon by his nation and Israel.
This segment uncovers a seismic conflict shaking America from local classrooms to the Oval Office. As Chicago teachers union leaders claim control over children's education and simultaneously weaponize political power, Washington faces a scandal involving forged presidential signatures threatening democratic transparency. Viewers should recognize the stakes, who truly governs the nation, and who shapes the future of our children. It's a call to vigilance and critical scrutiny. Drop your take below and join the conversation.